part 2 of Sold into Slavery, The Adventures of Joseph. We are starting with when the frightened brothers arrived home. They told their father everything that had happened. The governor of Egypt threw Simeon in prison. When we must return to Egypt with Benjamin so we can free our brother. On the way home, I found the money we used to buy grain hidden inside my sack of food, added Zebulun. What is God doing to us? The other brothers emptied their sacks of food. To their surprise, money was hidden in their sacks too. Jacob stared at the money anxiously. I will never let you take Benjamin to Egypt. I would die if something happened to him. However, the day came when the grain they brought from Egypt had almost gone. Jacob said to his sons, Go back to Egypt and buy more food. We must take Benjamin with us, said Judah. Otherwise the governor will throw us all in prison. Jacob sighed and gazed at Benjamin. Okay, he said, take Benjamin with you. If I must lose my children, so be it. Joseph's brothers set out for Egypt again, this time with Benjamin. They took many gifts for the governor, including double the amount of money to pay back what was hidden in their sacks. When Joseph saw Benjamin with his brothers, he let Simeon out of prison and invited everyone to eat with him. Prepare a huge feast, he said to his servants. Then these men will eat with me tonight. The brothers looked nervously at each other. Why is the governor inviting us to a meal? Perhaps he put the money in our sacks so he can steal our donkeys and make us slaves. The men had nothing to fear. That night, Joseph held a feast for his brothers. But something unusual happened at the meal. He seated them at the table from oldest to the youngest, and served Benjamin 5 times more food than the others. How does he know our ages? They whispered. And why has he given Benjamin more food? And we got another did you know? Evidence of Hebrew settlement has been found in the area known as the land of Goshen. Archaeologists have uncovered remains of donkeys, pottery, and weapons. And this is a picture of the feast. We got a lot more food. When the meal was over, the brothers wanted to go home. Joseph told his servants, Fill their sacks with as much food as they can carry. Hide my silver cup in Benjamin's sack. He wanted to see if they loved Benjamin, or if they would treat their youngest brother the same cruel way they had treated him years ago. The next morning, the brothers left for the land of Canaan. But they didn't get far. Joseph sent a servant after them to accuse them of stealing his cup. When the servant reached them, he said, The governor's silver cup is missing. Have you taken it? No, we have stolen nothing, says the brothers. There is no way we would steal the governor's cup. Joseph's servant did not believe them. One by one, he searched their sacks of food. Inside Benjamin's sack, he found the missing cup. You are a pack of thieves, he shouted. The brothers stared at the cup full of fear. We don't know why the cup is in Benjamin's sack. None of us would steal this cup. But the servant did not listen to the brothers. He marched them back into the city to stand before Joseph. This is the cup. At Joseph's house, the brothers threw themselves on the ground before him, begging for mercy. How can we prove that we did not steal your silver cup? Joseph looked down at the men. Did you think you could trick me? He said sternly. Joseph pointed at Benjamin. From now on, Benjamin will be my slave. The rest of you can go home. Worried their father would be broken-hearted if they came home without Benjamin. Judah stepped forward and knelt at Joseph's feet. Do not keep Benjamin, he said. Our father has already lost one son. Let me be your slave instead. Joseph was filled with love for his family because they cared for Benjamin. He was sure their hearts had changed and were no longer wicked and cruel. Taking a deep breath, he ordered all his servants from the room. It was time to share his incredible secret. Did you know? When the Israelites left Egypt hundreds of years later, they took the bones of Joseph with them. And you can find that in Joshua 24:32. And here is the picture for that. Joseph's eyes filled with tears to weep. I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery, he said. Is my father still alive? The brothers stared at Joseph in disbelief. They were so afraid that they could not speak. With their legs shaking like jelly, they looked at each other. Would Joseph punish them for betraying him all those years ago? But they had nothing to worry about. Joseph loved his brothers and had already forgiven them. Don't be afraid, he said. God made me ruler over Egypt. He sent me here to save lives. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. Joseph understood that God had a plan to save his people from the beginning. Soon the brothers were talking and laughing and sharing stories. Go and fetch our father and your families and come back to Egypt, said Joseph. I will take care of you. Pharaoh was pleased, too. He said to Joseph, Tell your brothers to take my wagons to carry their wives and children. Bring your father with them. I will give them the best land in Egypt, and they will have plenty to eat. Excuse me. The brothers hurried back to the land of Canaan to see their father. Joseph is still alive, they told him. He is ruler over all of Egypt. And first Jacob did not believe them. But when he saw the wagon that Joseph had sent to take him to Egypt, he knew his sons were telling the truth. Jacob packed up everything he owned and set out for Egypt. On the way, God spoke to Jacob, whose name he had changed to Israel. I will go with you to Egypt, and you will become a great nation. One day I will bring this nation home. As soon as Joseph heard his family had arrived in Egypt, he jumped in the chariot and raced off to meet them. When they met, Joseph kneeled before his father and wept for a very long time. Now I can die in peace, said Israel, or Jacob. I have seen my son is alive. Pharaoh kept his promise. He gave Joseph's family the best land in all of Egypt, the land of Goshen. They worked hard and became rich in every way, and for many years the Hebrew people lived peacefully in Egypt because of what Joseph had done for Pharaoh. The end. Here's Jacob and his son, Joseph. So that's it. Let's see, what do they have? They have questions. Okay, ready for some questions? What was the name of Joseph's father? Give up? Joseph's father's name was Jacob, or Israel. Bundles. What was Joseph's first dream? Bundles of wheat bowing down to the other bundles. How did Joseph's brothers get rid of him? Ready for the answer? They threw him into a pit and sold him to strangers. What did Joseph do for Pharaoh? Ready? What did Joseph do for Pharaoh? He interpreted his dreams. I feel like I missed one. How did Joseph get rid of him? Oh, what was the name of Joseph's master in Egypt? Ready? Potiphar. All right, here. How old was Joseph when he began working for Pharaoh? That's a tough one. He was 30 years old. Why did Jacob initially send Joseph's brothers into Egypt? Ready? Was to buy grain. All right. Here, let's see. What did Joseph accuse his brothers of at their first meeting? The answer is being spies. What did Joseph tell his servant to hide Benjamin's sack? The answer is grain, money, and a silver cup. And the last question is, where did Joseph's family live after they moved to Egypt? This is a very important one. Can you guess it? It is the land of Goshen. And that's it. Enjoy your night, little Israel.